At PDAC 2017, we're with Jayant Bhandari, analyst at Anarcho Capital. So Jayant, the last time we spoke, we've had a lot of comments and backlash against your talk. So let's talk about that. What is your response?
Well, Rachel, there has been a lot of backlash, but what have been the comments? How many people have actually come back to you explaining what I said wrong about India?
Right.
And Rachel, I'm actually increasingly more pessimistic about India when I see so-called educated people responding and contradicting me by saying curse words.
Right.
This is not the way rational people should operate. They should come back and reason with me. They should provide numbers to prove me wrong.
Well, what are your numbers? Let's go over quickly what you talked about in the first video.
Well, so if you recall in my first video, I said that Chinese economy is more than 5 times that of India. And that means that if China grows by only 6.3% and India grows by this so-called good 7.5% growth rate, China still grows at $570 per capita. India grows by $128 per capita. It's a massive difference. India is not the fastest growing large economy.
Right.
It will not be the fastest growing large economy.
Right.
And when intellectuals, economists, IMF and World Bank say that India is the fastest growing large economy, they are completely wrong. India has to grow by more than 33% per year to outsmart China. This is not going to happen, Rachel.
Well, so why is it that these smart professionals are saying India is the next China when you're saying that it's not?
Well, firstly, people who work for World Bank and IMF are not necessarily the smartest people on the planet.
Oh, really?
These are bureaucrats,
Right.
and they are politically correct people who are emotionally inclined towards democracies. And they don't want to accept that China, despite being a communist dictatorship, might actually do much, much better than India.
Right.
Rachel, I go to China quite often, and I can see financial and intellectual capital building in that country.
Okay.
I go to India as many times as I go to China, and I see increased chaos, more population, more chaotic, more destruction.
And compared to the last time we spoke, what's the situation now in your eyes in India?
Well, things don't necessarily change rapidly when you're talking about societies, but Narendra Modi has proved to be so good at destroying India that I am much more pessimistic about India than I used to be. He has infused within Indians a feeling of a strong Hindu nationalism. Indians no longer want to hear a word that is factually against India.
Right.
Even they want to just believe in false hopes. Narendra Modi demonetized about 88% of monetary value of currency in circulation in early November 2016. In my view, that sent the economy into a trauma. Indian economy is suffering hugely. Small businesses are failing. Poor people don't have jobs. The result is that food prices have fallen 50% today because poor people cannot buy food.
Right.
So this is truly a humanitarian crisis that Narendra Modi has put into place in India. And I know World Bank and IMF still keep coming out with very good growth figures for India.
Where are they getting it from?
Oh, well, so the reality is, Rachel, that one big reason why the growth figure on paper might be higher is that when Indian government declared demonetization of the currency, people prepaid months and months of salaries to their employees in advance. They pre-booked revenue. They booked revenue in the past. The market was open all night the day demonetization was announced. And the end result was that there's a lot of paper revenue which results into higher GDP despite the fact that the economy was going into a complete trauma.
Right, right. And is it fact, or is it your opinion that the education system in India is not proper? Like, that university grads can't even write their own names.
I was looking at YouTube recently. Search for funny Indian teachers, and you will get a lot of examples of Indian teachers who cannot spell January, February, Sunday, Monday.
Right.
This is the situation with teachers in that country. Imagine what would be the situation of people who go through the system where these kind of teachers exist. A lot of people who are supposed to be literate struggle with writing their own names.
Let's go over if there is any hope that you have for India as an Indian man yourself. What would you like to see happen? What do you think could be done to have a better outlook for the country?
Well, I think the best thing Indians could do would be to open the borders with China. Chinese would train Indians, Chinese would employ Indians, and Chinese would use Indians as their back office. India's hope is China. Unfortunately, India did not allow China a corridor and access to the sea. Pakistan gave it to China. India could have exploited this situation, which would have put India in a strategic advantage and would have helped poor Indians become the manufacturing back office of Chinese.
Right.
But unfortunately, my hopes, Rachel, will stay hopes because Indians don't want to do business with China. Indians prefer poverty. That's the way they think.
All right. Well, Jayant, thank you so much for your thoughts today.
Thank you very much for having me, Rachel.
For more coverage of PDAC 2017, you can go to smallcappower.com.